Nancy, I want to make
Sorry.
Nancy, can I
Yes.
make a bit of a plug for the workshop in a couple of weeks?
Well, why
Definitely.
don't you do that right now, Beth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just a reminder that in 2 weeks, Saturday, or the 21st, actually less than 2 weeks, we have Brent Alcott, who is Laycock, I mean, the workshop is promoted as acrylics on acrylic on paper, but also in the fine print it says, like, if you can do watercolor, don't let the acrylic scare you away. And please don't let the idea that it's abstract scare you away. I kept hearing people wanted to explore abstract, and I think Brent is the perfect person for it because he's exploring it through landscape, which means it's not quite like, I don't know, some of our sort of fears of like what is abstract art, like how does it really work? But I haven't got that many signing up. So I'm just encouraging people to sign up because
Take advantage. He's
yeah,
an excellent artist, and some people may remember we had him as a juror for one of our shows, and I believe did he do a demo for us?
he did. He
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, it's funny. His art's on one of Canadian stamp. He's done all sorts of things, but like there's a Canadian stamp with his art on.
Oh,
Very, very cool. But anyway, and he's going to take through the theory of abstract and how you take landscape and abstract. And it's 4 hours, which means it's not like this huge commitment. Anyway,
Barbara Gucci has a question.
Yeah, can you do watercolor in that class?
sure, absolutely.
Yeah?
And
Oh,
and, and I
okay.
want everybody to know that, please. It's perfectly fine because the same principles are apply. So
Okay, wonderful.
yeah.
That would be wonderful. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Mary has also got a question, I think.
Quick question. Could you send the link again? I deleted it when I saw
Oh,
acrylic.
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I will. Now, I was going to anyways, but I'll definitely. I'm putting it on my to-do list for tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Too
Okay.
funny.
Thanks. Anyway.
Okay, so Jody,
Yeah.
over to you. I'm
Yeah.
going to change the viewpoint here.
Good.
I will. Where are we? Gallery of speaker. And I want to pin you. Oh, wait a sec. Give me a
You don't have to
second.
pin me. I can just speak from the gallery.
Okay, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
put you back
fine.
on gallery and then I'll pin Lorraine when it's time.
Yeah, just pin Lorraine. I'm just one of the members here. So welcome everybody. Great to see everybody. Um, I hope everybody read the bulletin. And the bulletin, I think it did say that welcomed watercolor painters to Brent Laycock's workshop. And I'm gonna look up his work again and just think in your head how you can apply it to watercolor. I should be fine. So
Yeah.
it'll get you out and get you painting. Put aside the time and effort. And then what else do we have coming up? I hope everybody has the new password and you've tried it and it works. And if not, you have to clear out your cache. And if you don't know how to do that, look it up on Google or Perplexity or GBT or whatever it's called. And because that's where people have trouble signing in is if your cache is full. And then we have a show coming up. So we're happy to be at Todd Morton Mills again, Paper Mill Gallery, because we didn't know how that was going to go. We didn't know how long the renovation was going to take, but it was complete in December, so we're good for June. And Larry, gave us all the details. He has us all organized for that. So, you've got time to paint. When are the submissions? I forget what it says on the.
I think March 22nd.
Yeah.
Bonnie, if you're here twice, turn off one of your volumes.
Just did.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So everyone's got lots of time to paint, right? So does anybody have any questions before I introduce Lorraine? Everybody's good? And if anybody took the workshop last month or when was it? In January, we had Lorraine do those wonderful portraits for us, and then also how to paint people in perspective at the beginning, which was great. And is that link still on, Beth, for a little bit, or is it over? I think we asked for an extension.
Oh,
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, for how long?
I don't know, but it's just for the people who were at
Oh,
the
who signed
workshop,
up?
though.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. And so Lorraine's going to do something different for us today. She's had a bunch of articles in various art magazines that tell us about her artistic journey. And Lorraine, I have to apologize because when I saw the link today, think I spelled your name with two M's. So sorry about that. It's one M. And Lorraine's from Squamish, and you've got all kinds of things going on there and all kinds of things. So it's so great that you're willing to share with us, and you're just all over the place and all over the world. So we're lucky to have you again. So yeah, please, it's all yours.
Okay, let me just pin Lorraine and she'll be all set. Okay, now can everybody see Lorraine?
Not big. We want her to be big, right?
Well, okay, I've pinned her. Let me see if I also
Oh,
need
maybe
to.
Oh, we
spotlight. You
can
might need
pin.
spotlight.
Oh, we can do that.
Okay,
Pin.
just a
She's there
second.
now.
There we go.
Hi.
Yeah, we learned how to pin last time.
Okay, is everybody okay?
I think so.
Fantastic.
All right.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jody, Nancy, Beth, again, for welcoming me to the Toronto Watercolor Society. It's a real joy to be here. I really want to be able to meet your needs. So I have a question for Nancy and Beth, but if you guys have any learning goals, or if there's something that you would really like to get out of this meeting, if you just want to type that in the chat, and I'll have a kind of quick browse as that. Nancy, how much time would you like to give me so I don't go over today, and so I can plan my time?
I'm sure we'll all be here by midnight. No, it's hour and a half. The 9:30 is usually our outer limit.
Okay, excellent. I'll definitely aim in for under, and I'll aim to get some Q&A if anyone has any. I do a couple of mentorships over on Terracotta and have my own mentorship cohort that I'm looking after for the next 5 months. So if there's any questions that I can help you there, I'd love to, help support your art journey. So again, if you do have any art goals, just let me know what they are in the chat, and I'll try to address them as I give you a quick presentation. In this time together, I'll just let you know a little bit about who I am and where I appear today. And to give you a little context, the January just gone would be my 5th year of painting. So I have about 5 years of watercolor experience, and hopefully there'll be some interesting things that I might be able to impart on you. Just going to share with you my little presentation here, one sec. And I'm just going to open up the gallery again because I like seeing all the faces. I like seeing everyone's faces. So here we go. So here we go. So this is me. I'm Lorraine. And I'll read. I know you guys can read, but I'll just read of you my artist statement. I think it kind of ties nicely to what we were talking about together as you guys met up today. But in general, my work is drawn to the places where light feels hidden, and I can see that even in a time such as this, sometimes the goodness and the light does feel a little bit hidden. There's spaces marked by ache, quiet questions, or things left unsaid, and I like to linger there, not out of despair. And I've been to some dark places in my past. I needn't go into details, but happy to share. But I lean there not because I out of despair, but because I believe that even in the dark, something beautiful and hopeful can stir. And I have witnessed that. And I seek not to manufacture, but to reveal the unrelenting presence of light, a real hope that's grounded in truth. So that's just a little excerpt from my artist statement. This is where I am today. In the 5 years that I've been painting watercolor, before that, I had a complete hiatus from any artwork. Recently attained signature member of the Federation of Canadian Artists, and I'm in the last legs of an elect membership of the Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolor, BC representative IWS Canada. I'm also a brand ambassador for Rockwell, golden maple brushes, and do have a lot of companies reaching out for me just to show them their work. So if you want any discount codes or coupon codes, I have a lot of them. And I was also invited to jury the Women in Watercolor competition for 2 consecutive years, which is a great competition. And there's that. In terms of my work, in the Federation of Canadian Artists, I've attained 3 first place positions in national competitions, finalist for 2 consecutive years in Splash 26 and 27. I was recently awarded by Thomas Schaller the Bold Brush Award, which is a thank you. It was a once in a lifetime award, and numerous awards on art and color. In terms of press coverage, a couple of smaller covers in Canadian Watercolor, which is associated with IWS. I recently had a feature in Watercolor Artists, and then some little snippets in Artist Magazine, and also Art Avenue, which is the Federation magazine. I also have a 8-page article feature coming out this summer with Watercolor Artists. I just previewed it today. I'm very excited, but that's not here. I have also worked with Rockwell to curate my own color palette for my portraiture, which is branded Lorraine's Favorites. And as well, now they are also stocking the Masters Bao Hong watercolor pad, which I partnered with. So it has my artwork on the back. As many of you already know, I'm an art educator. I've been featured on Terracotta. I'll be at the World of Watercolor coming up this March. I've just been on Watercolor Live, the world's largest watercolor conference. And I've had features on Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Exhibited nationally, internationally in China. I have something coming up in England and Italy later this year. Something that I like to do, and I have a YouTube video on my channel, is I actually mount a lot of my work on cradled panel. This is to help with framing costs. But I will also caution you that if you are applying for signature or certain competitions, not all organizations will accept watercolor that's mounted on cradle panel. So do bear that in mind if any of your work is doing the tours around, doing its tours. You can connect with me. I'll show the screen later, but I do have a free 40-page ebook on my website and Instagram and a YouTube channel. Okay. Any questions so far?
Are you sure you've only been painting 5 years? It sounded more like 50.
Yeah, no, I'm going to show you the evidence shortly, Nancy.
Okay.
You're going to see some of my very early paintings, but I'll give you a little bit of my background as well. Great question. Yeah. So full disclosure, here's me. So I actually stopped painting in 2004 when I started my bachelor's in fine art at the University of Leeds. At fine art school, there was no painting, no drawing, no sculpting. It really lent on performance art, like Mariana Abramovic. May have pronounced that wrong, but it's kind of a lot of, naked people rolling around in paint and performance art and those kinds of things. And my time doing art school really killed my love of art. And so I stopped painting after my first year in fine art school. I mostly specialized in photography, performance art, and animation. And after I graduated, I wanted nothing to do. I sought out a corporate job. I did a year in Kuala Lumpur. They didn't know what to do with me, so they put me in some kind of branding type stuff. They whisked me off away to Whistler. And then I actually worked in this hotel at the Summit Lodge for 12 years. And I did everything from front desk, customer service, to reservations, accounting. I was a terrible accountant. Payroll. Oh my gosh. And then did a lot of the branding, marketing, operations, things like that. Eventually, when we were, as a hotel, we were recognized internationally. So that's just me accepting one of the awards there. And eventually when the Trump Vancouver wasn't doing great in Vancouver, and it needed to be rebranded, my boss and I, we came up with a new brand called Paradox. So this is the opening at the Paradox. And then we we basically invented a whole new brand. So they're still using that logo. That logo is now on 6 or 7 different hotels around the world now. And I was at one point managing expanding this brand and doing the sales and marketing for it. So that's a little bit about my background. So while I haven't done watercolor per se, I've been involved in a little bit of graphic design, interior design, branding, things like that. And I know that there are many people in this room with a lifetime of work experience in whatever field. And I can't tell you how much that my time in my career, 16 years, has paid off into my whatever I do now. So here we are on my 5-year journey. Any questions so far? I see
There
Christine.
was one something about, but we'll probably get to that a little bit later about branding, how you became a brand ambassador.
Yeah, I'll touch on that. And if I don't touch on it, please just ask me again, and I'll try to answer that in the next few slides.
Okay.
Don't feel like you need to make notes. If you need to write all of this down, I'll just send it to Nancy to shoot it up. But in this time together, I hope to answer and encourage you with these 8 points that I think I'm going to cover. But let's go to year 1 of my art journey. So I started painting in January 2021, and my motivations for watercolor were not really that noble. I just saw the art in my town. I was like, I wonder if I can do better. And I actually started off with Jenna Rainey's Everyday Watercolor. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's a very beginner-friendly introduction to watercolor. And after that, I started looking into Yuko Nagayama, which is a Japanese artist. She's got 2 books, and I did a couple of exercises from her books. This is one of them here. And so she had a lot of influence on my early time as a young artist. And then by April, I joined Jean Haynes' online painting school. And if any of you are familiar with Jean Haynes, a lot of the painting she does not use a preliminary sketch at all. She just gets the paint, goes to paper, and her view on composition is definitely leans more on the Eastern perspective of composition and things like that. But I learned a lot of her. And this was probably even at the beginning of this time, I already had established my own Instagram. I was already tagging brands. So cluing Christine, that's the beginning of it. And that's how I started reaching out to brands, making sure that my work got out there, tagging brands, or whatever products I use, I would tag them. And also building up communities. So I tried to look for everyone who was painting some everyday watercolor from Yuko Nagayama, from Jean Haynes. And from that very early time, I just wanted to connect. And this is what's beautiful about Toronto Watercolor Society. You are a community that's much closer on, and you're able to really build that community. But I had to work hard to build that online. And by October, I had actually set up my own website. And I just was curious, would anyone buy my art or my paintings if I ever set up my website? And shortly after I set up my website, I started putting up my paintings on Facebook Marketplace. That opened up opportunities for me in the community. And I was invited to have my first exhibition in year 1. And my work is still in a little sushi shop in Squamish. So now I kind of just have a permanent installation where I like to think of it, it's like a physical Facebook ad that is always on a sushi restaurant wall that people can, learn to a little bit more about you, just having a presence in the community. So that's what I did there. Here's some of the art that I made in my first year. I followed Jenna Rainey's books, and this is like one of my first landscapes. Think what you will, but this is these are my paintings. These ones here were some life drawings, paintings inspired by Yuko Nagayama, where she taught a lot about color. And then shortly after, in April, where I joined Jean Haynes's, this is the kind of work I started producing. I started painting pets for people, whatever subjects. This was the beginning of me building confidence to paint paintings for other people. This is the first stepping stone for a commission painting for me. Just painting. If someone wants your painting on a wall, that's a good sign that your painting is worthy to be sold at a price. And some of these paintings went up on the wall at the sushi place. So that's year one. Year two, this was the year I discovered portraits. And so in January, I actually joined a different web platform. It's called Art Storefronts. I don't necessarily recommend it, but I joined there, and they give a lot of marketing playbooks on how to, you know, launch a website, building an email list. And so because I wanted to launch a marketing campaign, I have a little experience in my career, and I'm still working a full-time job, by the way. So in order to launch my website, I needed to get the photography. So again, I don't have a photographer. So I just set up my tripod and a camera and a timer, and I run to press the timer button, and I run and like I'll pose for the photo and try to get some good photos of me. It's really important because people don't just buy paintings because they're pretty. People buying paintings from you because they're connecting emotionally to who you are as an artist and a person. So I believe it's really important. If you're afraid to get your face out there, it was scary for me too, but I encourage you to do that, to get your face out there. And I started building my email list. Instagram can crash overnight, so can Facebook, so can every social media, but you'll always have your email addresses. And so I've been building my email list since 22, I guess. And there's lots of great ways. Anytime you have a pop-up show, a workshop, a pop-up studio, you can always collect your emails. You can run giveaways, you know, have a free print, win a free print, that kind of stuff. Around about this time, I bought my first set of paints from Rockwell, and in January, and I decided just to make a post about it. And Rockwell saw that I made a post and I was advertising them for free, and I was invited to become a brand ambassador as early, almost within a year of painting, which and Rockwell have been so supportive in my journey. I really give thanks to them. Because I have had artwork on my little sushi restaurant place, someone saw my work and said, "Hey, can you paint my dog?" Everyone wants a painting of their dog. It's probably the highest requested commissions I find. Around about March, I started, I'm still with Jean Haynes. I'm still got a full-time job. And I started looking into Matthew White, fantastic artist. He was also in Watercolor Live with me this year. And I joined Matthew White and Ali Kavanagh's learning cohorts because I really appreciated what Matthew White had to say. And also Ali Kavanagh, she's a portrait artist and she has a community. So already you can say I'm infiltrating other communities of like-minded artists who paint similar subjects that I want to paint, and I'm connecting with them. And all the while, for me, I purpose to spend my time on Instagram to make meaningful connections with other artists, to support them, to share with them my encouragement, what I love about their work. And likewise, I've had artists that have followed me for years and years, all the way from when I started learning, all the way up until now. And they're still some of my biggest cheerleaders. And I mean that in the best, most, like they really spur me on. And I thank you so much for them. Around about June, I fell in love with watercolor portraits. And I started, I again joined another learning program. This one was sketchy. And I started painting, tried painting 30 faces in 30 days as per the challenge. And it was about midway, as on day 15 of that challenge, and because I'm tagging sketchy, right? And as I'm tagging sketchy all of my portraits, they actually, at this point, they invited me to teach and do some teaching for them in October. And so again, I can't value enough how much just connecting with other brands and companies, how it just gets your name out there. So here I am painting only 18 months, and I now have to figure out how to use a camera, how to record lessons, use a microphone. My first lesson was horrible. My first many lessons were horrible, like stuttering and I'm tripping over my words. And I still do that to this day, but you develop confidence talking on a camera. But yeah, I was invited to teach on Sketchy. I had my
They're
first
gonna love
open.
my resume, but I gotta find the right word. Not synergy. Cahoot?
Oh,
I need a little help.
we get okay. And then yeah, invited to teach painting October. The course was launched. It launched my first 3 recorded lessons. And then in November, I rebranded myself again. So I built myself a new logo. I built myself my own color scheme, my fonts and everything. And I just wanted to have a logo and have a website that better reflected who I am in terms of personality. And so I would say in general, note to take is that, and this is me just having a dream that one day when I'm retired, I would be a professional artist like Jean Haynes. But I figured it takes about 5 years to build a business and I have a full-time job. So better start now. But I would say from the very beginning, even though I was not professional, I put myself out as if I was professional, trying to have headshots, photos of me making art, photos of my art, things like that. So for a long time, I tried to put myself out as professional, not as a lie, but, setting myself up as if this is my small business. My small business was my hobby. So this is the work I started producing in 2022. These were painted without a preliminary sketch. I then discovered there's such a thing called tracing. And I just dug into commissions and I was like, well, there are so many artists that make a living tracing their commissions. Why am I laboring over it? What am I trying to prove here? Someone's paying me to get a job done. I'm just going to trace it. It's going to be easier. I still trace to this day. But yeah, this is my first dog commission from June. I also painted one. This one I just painted for a friend for fun. And then they paid me for it, which was nice. But, that can happen too. But these are the beginning steps of building confidence on what to do. This is something I painted for a friend. You can start seeing how my style evolves and changes. These 2 portraits were taken from my first goes at portraits, and these again were traced. And then by the time I was teaching my portraits, I was around about this level. This was my first free commission. So this is my free human commission. I did it as a giveaway to get email addresses. I was like, hey, give me your email addresses. I'm going to give away 1 free commission. And she won. And that was the stepping stone for me to building the confidence to do painted portraits of people. And I treated it as if it was a real commission that she was paying me money for. So that's what I did there. Any questions before I go into year 3? You can raise your hand if you have. I'll move on. Just raise your hand and interrupt me. I love interruptions.
So-
Jody's got her hand
Oh,
up.
so explain tracing or describe tracing.
Yeah, so there's many ways you can trace. The cheapest way is to print something out. And if you don't have a light box, you can print it out. You can, let me find a piece of paper. So
You can put it against a window.
yes, yeah. You can put it against the window and you can trace it there. Or if you have a portrait of someone, you can scribble this all in graphite, and then you can put pressure on it, and that will help move the transfer.
Yeah,
What I like to do, you can also use carbon paper. I don't like using carbon paper because it leaves marks, but I am launching a whole lesson plan, a whole lesson series on, and I will be using carbon paper for that, but I don't like carbon paper. I actually use this. This is my canvas lamp, and it's a lamp. It holds my phone, and I use an app called DaVinci. There's another company called AR Drawing that they want to pay me to promote them, but I haven't agreed to that yet. But what I do is with any photo that I have, I will put it on here with the tracing app DaVinci, and what it does is that it uses the camera, and it will digitally project it. So I have to look at the screen, and I will mark the piece of paper. So this is really good. So even if you're a freehand drawer, say that you have a beautiful composition and it's in your sketchbook, how do you transfer it from your sketchbook to your thing? You can do grid marks if you want to. You can do all of those things, or you can scan it or take a picture of it, upload it to your phone, and then digitally project it onto your canvas, your piece of paper. That's something you can do. And that's nice because, you might have a really beautiful sketch in your sketchbook that you want to make into a painting. Great question. Yeah. Year 3. So year 3 was my messy middle. We all have messy middles in our paintings and our watercolor, the ugly phase. This is the real life ugly phase for me. So in year 1 and year 2, I painted on average about 160 paintings a year. I almost painted every day. But in 2023, I only painted 60 paintings. And a little bit about this year, I was still working the full-time job. And at this point, I'm opening up the hotel in Vancouver. So I live in Squamish. I have to commute to work. I'm dealing with, I was managing a couple. They were dating and they were like secretly being insubordinate, and it looked like I couldn't manage a team. And so there was a year-long HR issues. I was sick. It got me sick. I ended up developing an autoimmune issue. My dog died. So 2023 was like my sad year. Terrible. And I'm going to show you all my sad paintings in a moment. But I'm still recording lessons for Sketchy. They've invited me almost every year to do 30 Faces, 30 Days. February, I started trying to play around with content creation because I wasn't painting as much. So I started like doing time lapses of the paintings that I was doing. I started trying to make, not just content about my paintings, but content about me making paintings. And this is important if, you want to connect to people who want to buy your art. It's not just the painting. They want to know the process. They want to know about artists. So I started trying to make content about that. And I tried to start making content that would appeal to people that wanted commissions. So I'm always thinking about who I'm trying to sell to, the information that they need in order to build trust and build trust of me and build an authentic connection and relationship with me. March, I invested in a photo scanner. I got to tell you, that is a game changer. Get a really good quality photo scanner. I used the Epson, I'll find out for you, but it's an Epson V600 or something. And I see Gary nodding. He might know what I'm talking about. A lot of people, I've judged 2 major international competitions and some smaller international and national competitions. Judges want to be as impartial as possible, but there's only so much their impartiality can do. If the painting that you're submitted is in poor light, I've seen paintings submitted with portrait mode on their phone. So the portrait of their face is like all textured from the paper, and then everything is out of focus because they use portrait mode to take a photo of their painting. I've seen paintings where it's got like a picture of their coffee cup that's on their desk still, things like that. If you have a good photo scanner, you're going to be able to best display your art, and it's going to be well lit. It's going to be well lit. I can't tell you how distracting it is when your photo is not lit properly, doesn't have the white balance. And if you don't have any understanding of, if you don't want to get the big lights and everything, a photo scanner is the best way. And you can stitch it very easily on Photoshop or something, or you can ask someone to stitch it for you. You can email it and you can pay me to stitch it for you. But if you get your scans in, that will present your paintings in the best way. Yeah, April, I had a big health decline, heart palpitations. I was diagnosed, didn't know at the time, but hyperthyroid. So I thought I was dying. And my dog also figured out that I was sick as well, and she had a massive health decline. She died. July, I still did the artist walk, still did the studio pop-ups. I'm still recording and teaching. I needed something to help me along, and I joined a Thomas Schaller mentorship on terracotta in September. Still teaching 30 Faces, 30 Days, and December, I did my first Instagram live. I only mention that because that was the first time I had to paint live for people. Terrifying experience, but the first time is always the most terrifying. Here are all the sad paintings I painted in 2023. I was so sad. I can't tell you. And I don't know why. For me, I just connected to these really melancholy faces. And I was experimenting with different people's styles. At this time, I'm constantly learning. I can't tell you that I'm following all of these different artists. I'm taking all these lessons. I'm figuring out my style. But I'm still enjoying it. Painting was still a hobby for me at this time. I just want you to note that in around about, I can't remember, but it was something like from May to August, I didn't paint. It's about 4 months. There was no painting. I was so sad, so busy. I didn't paint at all. And so the first two paintings I made around September was this painting here, and then this painting here. Remember this painting. This painting's going to come up again later. I also made this other this painting's called All the Sides of Me That Hurt. This painting was struck down but not destroyed. But these are my 2023 paintings.
Your blue period.
Lorraine, there's a question about what is terracotta?
Yeah, so Barbara, terracotta is an online teaching platform, and I was drawn to it because it had all of the world's best masters. It has Mary White, it has Thomas Schaller, it has Michael Jeswick, it has Angela Fur, it had all of these Buffy Kaufman, like all of these artists that I was like, wow, the faculty is insane. I want to learn under, and then Thomas Schaller, like he gets to critique my work and I get some guidance. So even Thomas Schaller, he paints mostly architectural landscape type things. He wouldn't say that himself. Tom paints very imaginatively. He's a very good communicator, very good composition, as you all know. And I felt like even though he's painting something different from me, I've got something to learn from Tom. And he's won so many awards. I want to learn from him. So I joined his mentorship, and I will let you know that I nearly missed every single session. I sometimes watch the recording. I was just so busy. I was so busy and so sad. I had no time.
How do you spell his last name, by the way?
Thomas Schaller.
Yeah.
Let me type it up for you if I can. Yeah, let me type it up for you because
pretty sure it's Schaller.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. That's it.
With a capital S. There you go. Anyway, yeah, there you go. So that's the terracotta. I joined as a learner on terracotta. All right. Year 4. Year 4. We're moving into 2024 now. This is the year I quit my job, and I didn't choose to, but I was sick. I was not that healthy, and there was lots of reasons. We'll get there. January 2024, I don't know how, I don't know why, but Lynn Pratt reached out to me and she invited me to be on the jury for Women in Watercolor. And I was ecstatic. That was the first, I don't know, but I'm super grateful she invited me. She's an incredible realist painter, as we all know. That was February. I won second place in Let's Rock. It's just a little Rockwell competition. I still am teaching and also painting along with different faces. I actually took a lot of time off in April from work so that I could try and paint a portrait every day.
Yeah.
In May, in May, I joined the Federation of Canadian Artists, and I made a plan for myself. I was like, I want to see if I can get elect status. Why? I just want to, I want to see if I can get some letters after my name because I don't know. Just want something to work for. I find that having some goals really helpful for that. So I joined the Federation, I entered some competitions, and this was the year, and I don't know how, I don't know why, but in May, Terracotta reached out to me and invited me to teach on their platform.
Wow.
And so I was like, yes. um, so I was really honored by that. That was the first time I had to teach live, and that was very scary, by the way. And painting live, the first time I recorded lessons, but you can see the building blocks, right? My first Instagram live, learning to record yourself. And then I had to rehearse every single painting to record live, to actually paint live for people. That was terrifying. In June, I won an honorable mention at the FCA exhibition for my really sad painting, Struck Down But Not Destroyed. And that was the first exhibition I entered for the FCA, and I was, again, rocked. I was really touched that someone saw something in that work and would place that on my work. Okay. By the time July rolled round, it was actually the end of June, and the risk of staying at work outweighed the risk of leaving. And so at the time, I was living in a company house. I didn't have utilities to pay. I didn't have rent to pay. All I had to pay for was food, and not even my car insurance, because they would give me a travel allowance that would cover that. So my husband and I took a 60% pay cut between the both of us and increased our expenses by 200 and moved into this. We moved in from a 4,500 square foot house to a under 1,000 square foot apartment. And I quit my job, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I took a break for about 3 months to figure out what I wanted to do. I had to teach in August my terracotta lesson, and somehow I feel like the Lord just exploded my life, and work money just kept flowing somehow. I mean, there was a whole month in there where I couldn't paint. I had to go on lorazepam. I had really bad manifestation of anxiety for the first time of my life. I don't know. I'm not normally an anxious person, but this was the first time I actually had a physiological experience of anxiety. I was on lorazepam for about a week. That helped me just get back to closer towards baseline. And then it took me about 3 months to get back to a baseline there. So in that time, I was juggling between EI and wondering if I should go back to work or leave. But I think I knew that I was going to quit my job because it was killing me. Or the late night calls, working, you're working a long time. I was sad because I talked a lot about community. When I was working in Whistler, I had a really good work-life balance. When I was working in Vancouver, I was on the road for 10 hours a week. I was on conference calls in the evening. I wasn't able to spend time with what was important, or all of my friends or my church family. That just kind of exploded. So everything kind of declined. So I was like, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it was worth the salary anymore. August, I was invited to curate my first paint collection with Rockwell, which is now Lorraine's favorites. And I did my first lesson on terracotta live. November rolled around, and I won first place at the Federation of Canadian Artists exhibition for another sad painting, which I'm going to show you in a bit. But I hope you can see that even in the sadness, there's hope somewhere. And then in December, I was talking to my husband. I'm like, where should we go on holiday? I don't know, because we don't have any money anymore. It would be really cool. It would be really cool if I got invited. When we have money, I would love to do an Italian retreat with Thomas Scialla or Mary White on Italiana tours. I was saying this to my husband, and I told him, wouldn't it be cool, babe, like maybe in 10 years, if I was a good enough artist that Italiana tours would invite me to have a retreat with them, because then they would pay me to teach and I'll get to go. No word of a lie. Next morning, I get an email from Piero from Italiana Tours, and he was like, hey, do you want to do a collaboration for 2026? So if any of you would love to spend a week with me in Italy to dive deep into portraits, I can't tell you how helpful it is to me when I get real-time feedback from artists. I have Piero invited me back here in December 2024 to collaborate with his wonderful company. It's the same company that Thomas Schalla and Mary White go on tour with, to do these amazing, amazing retreats. You get looked after with accommodation and food, so that's really great. So these are my paintings from 2024. I'm still coming out of my sad phase. So this is like my January work, still grappling with the pain that I'm going through. I again, exploring different, exploring my style, learning and taking the meat, spitting out the bones of different artists. I saw my husband, he was really sad one day. We went out for breakfast. My husband was in the infantry, and his whole career in the infantry was marked by alcoholism. He was a raging alcoholic throughout all of his years in the army. And he went through recovery 3 times. So 3rd time's a charm. He recovered, but a lot of the people he recovered with on either have relapsed or have for whatever reason are no longer around, for very sad reasons are no longer around. And he just found out that he lost another person that he was recovering with. And I saw this while I was having breakfast with him, and it left a mark on me, and it was something that I wanted to grieve with him with, and I wanted to paint. I was invited to do a commission. So I will say that when I set up my website, I try to communicate with people. These are the services I offer. Commissions don't just come to you. You have to let people know that that's something you do. This is the painting that I painted after I told my work that I'm no longer coming back. It's called Perplexed But Not Despairing. I painted a couple another one where I'm kind of coming out of that recovery time of, you know, a lot of stress. This was Into the Light. And then I painted these are just two portraits, commission portraits I did for a friend around Christmas. So that was my messy middle. Oh no, that's after my messy middle. That was 2024. Here's 2025. So this is the first year of me being a professional artist. I don't know why, I don't know how, but Lynn reached out to me again. It was just like, hey, will you help jury the Women in Watercolor International Competition again? And I was, of course, I was so honored to accept that. February, I received my notification that I was a finalist in Splash 26. So my sad painting of leaving work, this one here, became a finalist painting. It was judged by Stefan Zhang. In March, I launched my free ebook and my mentorship course with Terracotta. So Terracotta invited me to do a mentorship program with them. And I'm like, all I know about mentorship is what Tom did. So I'm going to try and copy as much as he did and take the best of that and try and make it my own and look after my students. I'll talk about the ebook. If you don't know what a lead magnet is, a lead magnet is a way of you to get email addresses on something like a website. So what I do, and while I'm here, I'll give you the link to my free ebook. And what happens is people give me their email addresses to download the ebook in exchange for giving me their email addresses. So that works in my favor to build up my email list. So let me send that to you. Sorry, this is going crazy. Oh, thank you, Beth. You put it up there for me. So that's the link to my ebook. You can see how it works. If you do sign up for it, I get your email address. And then moving forward, if I have lessons and Italian retreats, I have a free chat with Piero on Valentine's Day this Saturday to talk about the retreat. But this is where I tell everyone my news. This is where I tell everyone my paintings. This is where I get to tell everyone my stories, because Instagram can crash. It can make you pay for lots of money, but you'll always have your email addresses. So you can download it just to see how a lead magnet works. It doesn't have to be a 40-page ebook. It could also be, a one-pager. It'll be anything of value, like my 5 top tips in watercolor. It can be anything, it can be like a free screensaver, whatever it is that I'm giving you information in exchange for your email. I try to use my ebook as a place where I can help build my relationship with you by giving you free information and a little bit of insight into my commission process, and that lets you know my values, what I believe, how I approach things. I tell people about my reviews, what other students think of me. There you go. I can't believe I'm giving you this for free, all this information, but this is what I talk about in my mentorship program with Terracotta. So hopefully this is good information for you. Where are we? Thank you for your attention, by the way. I realize I'm talking a lot at you, but hopefully I'm giving you good information. So March, May rolls around. I won first place again for a Works on Paper, another Federation of Canadian Artists exhibition. I'll show you that later. That's another sad painting, by the way, but sad and hopeful. Hopefully you see there's a little bit of hope in everything that I try to look at, but it does stem from a place of pain. Sometimes, not all the time. June, I just signed up for World Watercolor Month, and I was like, hey, I'll be an ambassador if I'll help. So I signed up for that. The guy, Charlie, who runs it, he's great. But, just another way of getting my name out there. June was about the time I got into a conversation with Rockwell. Rockwell invited me to collaborate with them with my own watercolor pad. It's Bao Hong, by the way. Bao Hong paper is made in China. It's one of Thomas Schaller's favorite paper. This is a cold press. So it's a lot more textured than your regular cold press. And it lifts really well. It performs well on scrubbing, but you can purchase that now. So that's that. In July, I was invited to be the Canadian Cultural Ambassador for the International Watercolor Festival in China. That was amazing. I was able to connect with some world masters, Andre Cano, Keiko Tanabe, and all the Anastasias from Russia. Lots of incredible artists. And that was really helpful. That was almost like what do you call them? Not a retreat. A residency. It felt like a residency because, as artists, these are other artists. These are other artists giving me feedback, me giving them feedback, having them critique my work. I can't tell you how precious it is to have the attention of people like Keiko to look through your portfolio, and for me to look through hers and look through their work and talk about it and have a professional opinion of your work. It benefited me so much. Worth its weight in gold. October, I won first place again for a cheerful painting, which I was able to closely demonstrate with Toronto Watercolor Society. I'll show that for you in a bit. And I was able to attain signature status with the Federation of Canadian Artists, which is juried by a group of peers, which was very affirming. I'm very grateful. And I just want to encourage you, Nancy, as well. I know that you recently joined, not to put you on the spot, but you saw that I joined in May the previous year. I made it my focus, work hard, submit my pieces, and get my points and submit it. And there's 2 levels in the Federation of Canadian Artists. You can get associate and you can get signature. Signature is the typically is the one where it reflects you have a strong artistic voice as well as a very high skill. So I'm very honored to be a recipient of that. November rolls around. I submit my work for Bald Brush. If you're a member of Bald, so Bald Brush is it's associated with FASO, FASO. It's another art marketing website platform. I dabbled with FASO. There's lots of big artists with FASO, more big artists, professional artists than art storefronts. Art storefronts is geared for selling and marketing. FASO is more of an artist community of more fine artists. I would say there's more commercial artists and photographers on art storefronts. But associated with FASO is the Bold Brush. And I submitted work for the Bold Brush Awards. And Thomas Schaller happened to be jurying that month, and he awarded me the Bold Brush Award. It's an award that you can only win once in your lifetime. So again, I'm very grateful to be a recipient of that. Wow. With that comes a cash prize and some advertising credits. So it's always worth it. Just if you haven't submitted for competitions, Bold Brush is, if you're just a free member, you get to submit it for free once a month. So, and I will say another reason why I enter competitions is I see it as a marketing revenue. See, this is what happens in hotels. Hotels don't just win competitions out of nowhere. We have to nominate ourselves, and then we pay them money. And then when we nominate ourselves, we get marketing materials to put on our hotel to get people to vote to us. And when we win, then you get more marketing materials, and then it builds up your resume. So for me, entering competitions is my strategy for marketing, because anytime I win an award, that means a magazine feature, or it means something else to talk about. It's just more credentials, especially by when you're juried by peers, to be like, wow, my work is actually just not in my head. It's not just my family making me feel good. This is other people weighing my work and lifting it up. And you don't have to go for all the international ones. It's, I think start in your town and city, start then next your province, then your country, Canada, and then the rest ends of the earth, so you don't need to, just a local competition. It's a big deal for some of us to even put our art out there. And I commend whatever competition you put yourself out there for. December, I got my 2 artist magazine features, one for Art Avenue, which was the Federation, is a national magazine, and then my first feature in my first 2-page feature in Watercolor Artist. This is the work that I made in 2025. So I'm a full-time artist. There's lots of changes, but I'll just quickly go through some of them. Here, I do a lot of self-portraits because I'm the easiest model to work with, and I'm always readily available. I did some teaching, but I'm starting now to take my own reference photos. I would say if you're entering competitions, the bigger the competition, the more important it is for you to have your own reference photos. Please have your own reference photos, because if it's someone else's photo, it's someone else's work. FCA, Federation of Canadian Artists, they will allow you to use someone else's photo as long as they're not professional. And if you're using stock images, as long as it's modified enough. But I would say learn to take your own reference photos, especially if you're aiming for the higher gear competitions like the international ones, because they want everything to be your own work. This painting is of my dear friend CJ. She lost her husband, and a good friend of mine, in 2020. In this portrait, I had a lot of thoughts about navigating the grief with her through the years. This was the one that won first place in one of the Federation of Canadian Artists competitions. This painting comes from my first live portrait. 90-minute portrait on the World of Watercolor conference. A couple of other things. IWS is another great organization. It's just the Canadian organization, but I won a little prize of that. These are how my paintings developed over time. I painted this one of my father. It's called, I'll talk about it later, but this is a part of me almost grieving the man that he once was. Our relationship is a little bit more fragile now as his mental faculties have changed, as his anxiety has grown over the ages. This is the more cheerful one that I took from a reference photo I in China that won first place at the FCA. I should say this one is currently being collected by the Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolor. This is the painting that was awarded by Thomas Scheller for the Bow Brush Award. And some of these paintings were collected into other collections or private collections. Thank you so much for your attention so far. So here's a summary of some big points that I like to go through. I made notes here. I guess all of you probably know watercolor enough that you need to push through the ugly phase. There might also be an ugly phase in your painting careers. If you haven't already met many of them, my encouragement is just to keep plodding through. You never know what can happen in those hard moments. Some of the paintings that have been awarded and recognized the most were painted out of a place of grief or loss. Not completely hopeless, but it started there. And I find for me, sitting in that pain and processing the pain, because you can't go around it, you can't go over it, you can't go under it, you have to go through it. And we have the gift of art that helps us go through that pain. Every failed paint, I didn't show you any of my failed paintings. I got a lot of those, but all of my failed paintings were a stepping stone. Plan your art education. Even as I'm mentoring other students, I'm sitting under Mary White right now, having her critique my work. And I still look to other artists for inspiration to learn their techniques, to help expand my visual vocabulary. And I take what I want and I leave what I don't want. But I find that this is a good way to keep developing. If you can, and there's all kinds of ranges. You don't have to hit the really expensive ones. There's lots of very accessible, affordable ways to learn. I have my own YouTube channel, which I try to give out free info there. That's, again, if you want to become a teaching artist, or if you just want to become better, paint. As you paint, explain to your imaginary friend or to your spouse or anyone who, real or imagined, that will care to listen to you, explain to, while you're painting, what you're doing and why. Putting words to your actions really going to help you advance as an artist. I find that it helps keep me inspired. And I always have new goals. I want to paint people better. I really feel like I'm awful at landscapes. I want to paint landscapes better. Find or create a community. You guys probably have a great community already. I don't have a local good watercolor community, so most of my relationships are virtual. But I have people supporting me through the years, and I can't tell you how beneficial that's for me. Having those people to cheer you on, and even for you to point out the good in their painting and to keep looking for the good, whatever is good, whatever is honorable, just, pure, lovely, commendable. Look to those things. And as you get a keener awareness for the good in this world, the good in other people's art, it will fine tune your own mind for what is good in your work and how to progress your work to be better. I like to seek feedback from professionals. If I get a chance to ever get free feedback from professionals, I will, but I often have to pay for it. But that's been really helpful for me. You know what? It doesn't even have to be someone professional. Get feedback from someone further along in your journey. And I imagine there's a whole host of incredible artists in this very room right now that can give you good feedback to help you get a little bit further. So it doesn't always have to be like a pro. It can just be someone further down the line. I would say learn to mentor yourself. When I was first painting in my first year, I would always critique myself on social media and I would put the pros and the cons in my comments. I don't recommend that because sometimes someone will buy that painting and you don't want them to read your self-critique of your painting. Like you don't want them to hear all the bad things that you see in it. But I did critique all of my work when I was first in the first year of painting. And that really helped me develop good questions to ask myself. And it helped me start thinking how to problem solve my failures instead of just, thinking this is awful. No. Okay, so what do I want it to be then? Okay, so if I want it to be that, then how do I get there? So why does this suck right now? Oh, it has no composition and no big shapes and structure. Okay, so what do I need to do? Well, maybe I need to mix thicker paint next time. Maybe I need to plan a thumbnail just to figure out the big shapes. That also means I need a bigger brush, so I need more paint and a thicker mixture. So, that is how you mentor yourself. You're going to need to know how to mentor yourself because, Kathy's not always going to be available. She's going to be in Florida somewhere enjoying, whatever it might be. Like you need to know how to mentor yourself. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Of course, it's scary. The first time we put our photo, first time we talk on camera, that's always scary. It's scary for everyone. I hated my voice. I hate my voice so much. But now I hear my voice more. I'm kind of used to it. So, but all the first are scary. The first time you have to ship something, the first time you have to do a commission, all of those things, just sometimes do it for free where there's no like big penalty or risk. That's how I built up my confidence, maybe. And yeah, stay open to surprises. There were so many surprises that came out of the blue. A lot of these things, a lot of these opportunities, I didn't actually search for. They just came from me. I didn't reach out to Terracotta or Rockwell or anyone. I mean, I tagged Rockwell, but I never reached out to Terracotta or Len or Women in Watercolor. I have no idea. But, the more you put yourself out there, the more people get to familiarity, build trust, How are they going to build trust with you if your Instagram account or your website only has 2 paintings, right? Like, they're going to build trust when they see your body of work. And trust me, like I still got work on my website from 2022. So, it's there. Thank you so much. I don't want to be respectful for your time. If you want, I have some other slides that I can talk a little bit more about my work, but do we have any questions or is there any other exchanges or anything?
Would this be a good time for people to unmute and ask a question, or do you want to put your hand up or just unmute and just wait for your turn? That's fine. I think we could do that if you'd like.
I can take questions. I see Christine. How do I handle commissions? Keeping customers happy, getting payment, not getting ripped off. I can't believe I'm giving you this almost for free because my mentorship course is a lot more of an investment. And so, but this is how I do it. So I come from a business background and many of you probably have that. And when I go out to seek quotes from people, I will get a deck, a presentation deck that tells me a little bit about who they are, why I should trust them, why I should believe them. And then right at the end, it gives me the prices and it gives me options. And so that is my base understanding business is now travels over to how I do my commission process. So how do I do commissions and keep them happy? Communication. First of all, I would say, got to be careful on social media. All of you probably already had a request. Please paint my dog's son. No, my son's dog. And we all know that they want to pay you in Bitcoin or NFTs or something silly. We all know those ones. Hey, this is what I do. I arrange a complimentary video consultation with everyone that I do a commission with. This is helpful in so many ways. 1, I get to see that they're a real person. Number 2, they get to see my face and I get to start building a relationship with them. Number 3, or maybe more reasons, I get to understand their story because paintings are stories. They're not just likeness. I want to paint more than the likeness of their dog. I want to paint the personality of their dog. How am I going to find out their personality? I don't want them to type it out. I want them to tell me. I want them to tell me what they like, what they don't like. I want to make sure that we match our expectations. I let them know what the process is, how long it's going to take, all of these things. And what to expect. I also sometimes have to coach them on what reference photo to take, because people will take a black dog that's backlit, and that's not going to be a great painting. Or they'll take a photo of their dog or their child and it's lit by overhead ceiling lights. Yeah. That's not nice lighting. So I like to give the people that are being, commissioning me some information on what reference photos work. If they give me a photo and they want me to do a close-up, but their head is like a tiny little circle in like a massive space, I'm not going to be able to do a good commission painting of that. I need to educate the person that is commissioning me for a painting to understand these things. So once I do that, I like to give them a proposal. In my proposal, I like to include a little bit about, why would they invest X amount of dollars in the commission with me? Well, here are my accolades. Here are my achievements. This is my portfolio of other work that I've done. And then here's the pricing. And here's what I do with pricing. They might let me know their timeline and what they want. I will always price under, at, and above. And you'll be really surprised. They'll give you a budget of $600 and then suddenly they want a $1,000 painting. Don't cut yourself short. You're leaving money on the table. This is just me as a talking business. And I will also charge a tax for a painting I don't want to paint, or I will undercut it depending on how it goes, because hey, we can upscale it, but I'm going to charge more because I really don't want to do it. But to make it worth my while, I will do this oversized painting that's going to be a nightmare to ship if you pay me X amount on it. You don't need to tell them that, but I'm just letting you know to price things out fairly for you, because commissions can be really difficult. You're painting for someone else. So you need to price it in a way that makes sense for you and is sustainable for you. I'm not going to paint underpriced, oversized paintings for other people. So after I price them, this is what I do. I will give them an agreement. If you don't know how to write an agreement, I know you all know how to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT will help you. If you don't want to pay for a lawyer to write an agreement, ChatGPT. So I write an agreement with them and I get a 50% deposit down. Don't start work until you have an agreement.
Right.
Your agreement protects yourself, and it protects the buyer. And it also gives you a get out of jail free card if you want to cancel. You got to cover your bases on the liabilities. If you don't know what the liabilities are, ask ChatGPT, what am I missing in my agreement? And so after that, look, I don't want to criticize anyone's commission process, but I've had a pretty successful one with pretty happy customers. And so how do I keep them happy? Well, I try to give them as much choices up front, so they choose the color palette. So I give them options. I would do little mini sketches of like the color palette here. One sec. Here, these are all of the color palettes you can choose from. So I'll give them like a little value sketch. I'll maybe make up 3 things, and I'll give them my recommendation on what I think you should choose. And then off you go. So I do that. I let them in on the process, trying to incorporate the story, trying to incorporate all the details that are important to them. And then I'll come back with them. Hey, is this line drawing okay? Is the preliminary sketch okay? Okay, great. I'll bring it up to halfway. And we're like, hey, how are we doing halfway? If you want to get out, we got the agreement. If you don't like how we're going, we've got the agreement that that covers my bases. I get paid a little bit to circumvent the costs, and then if they're happy, because we communicated all the way through, I'm gonna then take it all the way up to the end of the painting, up to 3 revisions. It's not uncommon that your client will want revisions, but they might do. You want to give them space, but you don't want to give them endless revisions. So up to 3 I typically let them have. And so far, I have been very surprised that I have not had an unhappy customer. Everyone's been stoked because of communication. So that's my great question, Christine. I
Amazing.
gave you a lot of information and hopefully it was helpful.
It's incredible. How do you ever have time for all this? You must be very organized.
No, I would say not. I'm learning. I'm learning to be organized. I would say I'm my mentorship under Mary White is super helpful right now. She's a very seasoned artist, and obviously I'm always want to try to learn from someone ahead of me. But I would say my first year or so, it was almost like 75% admin because I'm a one-man person show band. Like
Yeah.
I do all of my marketing, I do all of my inventory, shipping, accounting, all of that. Everything is a learning curve. And so I'm grateful for those first 3 years where I was juggling my job because it takes time to learn. If any of you have a job right now and you're wanting to go professional, you're in the best, my favorite place of my whole art journey because I didn't have to rely on my art business as my primary income. And so I was able to do all of that because there's so many things to learn. You don't need to feel overwhelmed, just one little step at a time, a little bit more, and it gets easier. And then you learn more stuff, and then maybe you have an income and you can hire people. But I can't even remember what your question was. But yeah, my first year, 75% admin, 25% painting, not even. There are days of this, but here's one tip that I find really helpful. In the same way that you have to make an appointment for something that's important, like your doctor or like surgery or whatever it is, if you want to make sure that you get good at painting, you might need to make a weekly appointment for yourself to be in a studio where you don't have any admin, where like, sorry, that's my no admin day. That's my studio day. And I'm starting to build that in right now. So I would say I don't get to paint every day, but I do reserve Thursday to be my studio day. So don't email me tomorrow, please.
Does anyone else have a question at the moment? Christine says, thank you for answering my questions. Much appreciated. You can unmute and just ask the question if you have one.
I'm still trying to understand about terracotta. That's an
Who's,
important
can you just say who it is that's asking the question first? Because we can't tell.
Marlene.
Oh, hi, Marlene. Okay, go ahead.
I'll put it in the chat.
It's an online school, right?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, Terracotta is an online school. It has a number of incredible world masters and very fantastic artists that you can learn from. And it's all online learning. So there's a whole menu of courses, mentorships, watercolor conferences that you can learn from. If you're interested, I can probably find a discount code for you and you can save $50 on your first
Good.
thing.
Is it for all levels?
It's for all levels. I mean, there's definitely going to be artists that you're going to benefit more from if you're a little bit more intermediate. But, you know, what's not to learn? Yeah. Here, I'll give you a link. Yeah, great question. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, Beth has
Just
got
yeah.
terracotta.art/classes.
Yeah.
What do their courses typically charge, for example?
It's going to be a little bit pricier. I would say a one-day workshop, which is about 3 hours, will be around about 89, 70, 75, 89 US.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
not outrageous.
Yeah.
That's
And yeah, and sorry, that's my discount code. Sorry that it has so many numbers. I don't know why, but that would save you if you put that code in, that would save you 50%. And then if you wanted to go to the watercolor conference, it's going to be code Lorraine. Oh, actually, I don't know. I have to look it up. I think it's like code Lorraine's. I'll give it to you in a bit. But the watercolor conference is great. It's got people like Sebastian Tomen, if you love your landscapes, and Thomas Shallow will be doing a live demo on there. You can see the lineup. Michael Jelswick is in it this year, which is fantastic. There's a whole host of people. Angela Furr. She was one of my inspirations growing up as well. So she's, yeah, that's also wonderful too.
Is that the world of watercolor, you mean?
Yeah, the World of Watercolor, and
Is the conference?
yeah, it's an online conference, which is,
Yeah.
I feel like when you think about it, it's kind of worthwhile because you know how much it is to travel, get a hotel, and at least it's recorded, so you know you can watch it after. But if you use code Lorraine, if you use code Simonds 2026, that will save you, I think, $50 off the conference.
Aren't you nice? Thank you, Lorraine.
Thanks.
The
You're so
deals keep
thoughtful.
flowing in. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot
Well,
more codes. Let me know what you want to discount on. I probably have something for someone.
Wow.
You're quite
Well, I'm just in
amazing.
awe of what you're doing. It's just incredible that you have done so much in such a short time. I guess it comes from being sort of a goal and being young and energetic and talented, incredible talent.
Lorraine, if you had advice for us, everyone here, to take one step online to do something to promote our art, what's the one step we could do?
It will really depend on what your goals are. But in general, I would say do one thing. Once you establish what the goal is, maybe you want to become professional, maybe you want to sell a piece of work to a stranger. That was one of my first goals. I want someone who doesn't know me, that's not family, to buy my work. And just figure out, once you figure out what that goal is, doesn't have to be a massive goal, or it could be a pipe dream. Do one scary thing to get you a little bit closer. Just one scary thing. The least scary thing. Just do the least scary thing to get you one step closer. And then once you do that, do the next least scary thing. Yeah. So, because all of it's overwhelming and intimidating. Every step of the way, it's been been overwhelming, intimidating. I don't like imposter syndrome. I don't know why they asked me to do this. Like I can't paint live. I stutter over my words, all of the things, right? I hate the sound of my voice. I don't know how to edit, you know, everything. It's pushing through the messy middle. We have to do hard things. Anything that's worth it's hard. I know you guys know that. Many of you have lived, you know, maybe have much more deeper experiences than I have and have to push through harder things. So yeah.
I think what you just said should be our new model. Just push through the messy part.
Yeah.
I have a question, Lorraine. Can you hear me? About your website. Do you do your own website or does somebody else?
Yeah, I do my own website. It does help to have. I've been making websites since I'm not even making it up, since I was maybe 13, 14 years old, from like, before the age of MySpace even. I was like, I want to learn how to code and make this page look purple or whatever it was. And that's helped along the way. But I will say, if website building is intimidating for you, art storefronts, which I don't recommend, it's an expensive platform. They will build the website for you, and they're very heavy on marketing. You can get a reference code or something from the bottom of or just email me. I'll give you something. But art storefronts is one way to do it. I find there are easier platforms. If I was to do it all over again, I would just go on Shopify. But Shopify can be a bit of an intimidating platform if you're not familiar with it. I find the easiest platform to use if I'm doing it myself is Squarespace and Faso, Faso. It's the fine art platform. They have links to Squarespace, so you can make a Squarespace website on Faso. But if you want someone to build it for you, you can also just ask like a local kid to make you a website, or you can maybe ask art storefronts, but it's more money and it's more of an investment. It's a big investment with art storefronts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
So everyone can look at the your local bookstore and find watercolor artist and see Lorraine's article in there and say, I know this person. It's out on the shelves right now.
That's the new issue of Watercolor Artist?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, we've never had a presentation like this before, I can tell you that.
You usually have to pay the big bucks for this.
Yeah, we got a lot of great info, and you've lived a life, and I mean, 5 years, you've, like Nancy said, you have 50 years
Yeah.
of experience, life experience too. But oh boy, all your marketing, I can see how that really paid off in spades.
100%. And what I will say, which is an unfortunate truth, there are many artists out there that have far less skill than the artists in this room. But the only difference is that they're able to market it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to cast shade on anyone, but there's sometimes if I'm scrolling through Instagram, I saw this one reel, and it's of this lovely, beautiful girl, and she's always showing her midriff, and she's beautifully made up, and she's spinning the artwork around, and she's like, this one was sold just as I finished it. And I'm like, okay. I'm happy for you. It's not the best painting, but I'm really happy for you. And I only share that with you, and I don't want to cast shade because, hey, she's doing a good job marketing.
Yes.
There are many artists in the room that don't in here that paint far better. I know for sure there are artists in this room that paint far better than what she was able to accomplish, in my opinion. And but she was just able to market herself better. So it's unfortunate, not unfortunate, but that's the job, right? Like, you have to bring your product to market. So if you don't like getting your face out there, if you don't want people to look at your work and think bad things, then this is why I encourage you, do one scary thing. Do one scary thing, because we're never going to get our art sold if we keep it, buried under our piles of paintings. So
well, the one scary thing isn't going to be showing my midriff.
That
would be scary.
Truly scary.
I can't remember I had one of those. The other thing too is a lot of the people in this group, we are of an age where technology is almost a foreign thing. Like my kids are digital natives. I always tell them I'm a digital refugee. And it's just like it is a challenge for us to keep up with technology and how to use it in addition to painting. So it's very inspirational to hear your ideas, and like you said, one small thing, maybe we can get somewhere, one little thing. Yeah.
And the idea of being local in your community, then a little bit larger than outside your province and outside the Canada. I mean, that makes sense, and that's great advice. Confidence building too, I guess.
Yeah, and I would say as well to add to that, your family and friends should be the number one place, the number one people that know that you paint beautiful paintings. And it feels silly at times because I feel like I'm constantly like bragging or trying to get attention. It's not my if you want to make a career out of being an artist, your friends need to know that you can paint, that you are decorated, that your peers think you're great. So if you're, every time you get accepted to an exhibition, your friends and family need to know that. They need to be able to follow the story. And I would say as well, I don't know how many of you are still working, but while I was working, I used my LinkedIn profile. I would just talk about, this is my new painting, this is my award that I'm, on my LinkedIn profile. So that's another place to reach things. Instagram, it's a place, you know, it doesn't, there are also many very good artists and they do not have a social media and they don't have a website, except but I would recommend to have a website. You don't have to get too crazy, but you know, like I would start small, like Squarespace, Wix, a lot of these and a lot of these platforms like Squarespace or Wix, they have a big customer support team and they will help, and they have lots of and in those they will also have, what do you call them, like tutorials and walkthroughs on how to do things. You don't need to start crazy, just learn how to at least put a photo of yourself up there with a bio, learn how to put your paintings. Doesn't matter if you can't set up a shop, like just set up your photo gallery of paintings and let people know that they can email you if you want to buy, because you know, whatever it is, like it doesn't have to be too scary. Let's just, you know, do what we can in a way that's manageable.
Speaking of technology, is there any way that we can copy the comments? Because I always think it's just a shame that you don't get to see the comments.
Oh no, I see the comments. I have
Are
them.
you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw that. There was another question. I think Christine, do I know anything about for formats for websites? I don't want to put you on the spot, Christine. If you're happy to come off mic, do you mind just letting me know what you mean by that?
Don't think I see that. Yeah.
It's a 1756.
Do you know anything about
format for website?
That's
I mean,
getting kind of specific, though. We should probably, yeah.
What format the company?
Oh, the name of the company, I think.
I think if you're asking for what a website should, it would be good to look at different artists' websites to see how they structure them. And also, like Lorraine keeps saying, what is your goal? My website really, it's my portfolio. So, you know, people can go on and see what kind of paintings I do and, you know, what teaching I'm doing. But other people use it to sell from quite a bit. So you know, it would depend on if you want to set up a monetize your website or not. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, though.
Yeah, and thank you, Nancy. That's a great answer. And to add to that, I would say it's very important to make sure you have a good photo of yourself on there. Maybe a photo with your art. It's really good to have a couple of photos of you holding your art. If you're posting on Instagram, to make sure that your face is on there, because people want to connect to the person behind that. It's also nice as a reminder that your product is a 3D product. It's not just a flat product. It's an actual physical product that you're selling on there. Yeah, artist bio, portfolio. Those are great starting points. Format like Squarespace.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there a way to save the chat?
I think I can do that. I won't guarantee it.
Barbara asks if I'm working on a new series coming out of my sad phase. Yeah, there's a couple of things. I'm gonna be known as the sad artist. Came on. I don't mind. Here, let me just find. Oh, am I sharing the right thing? Yeah, here we go. So there's a couple of things that I'm working on. It's not sad. It's not sad. Well, for me, it's not sad. It's not coming out of a sad place. But for me, these are, this one is I Lift My Eyes. I have a couple of them all together. I'm still working through some. But for me, these explore, you know, the idea of like washing, renewal, like a spiritual wrestling. It's not necessarily a sad thing, but for me, my faith is an integral part of who I am and how I see the world. And so there's that I'm working on. There's this painting here on the left. It's called My Father's House. It's not a commission. This one I submitted to Fabriano in Aquarello. So that's on its way to Italy somewhere, Fabriano. But this one for me, I don't know if I'll do a series, but it was a real, for me, a celebration of the father's role in this little baby's life and the family's life. And there's also, I don't know, there's another self-portrait, a whole set of self-portraits that I'm going through. I also have a couple of other, those are probably the things that I'm working on. In between, there's always teaching. So I'm always like occasionally teaching how to paint a baby face or something like that. I have a teaching series on Artist Network right now. That one is.
Lorraine, you were going to show us the one that you did for the demo that you won the prize for. You didn't.
Oh,
the girl, the babies,
with the puppies.
The puppies, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
sorry, I just suddenly remembered you were going to show us that. If you have it, maybe you don't have it.
Yeah. One moment. Yeah. One moment as I wrestle through.
We all had to paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So here, let me find. So this was the original one that I actually painted in China. I actually painted this with purely colorographic brushes. Yeah, there are these two girls. I think it's a couple of us, Vahe Gregorian and Andre Cano and a couple of other artists. We're just sitting painting plein air, and these girls, you know, they just want to see what we're doing. And I just managed to capture a couple of photos of them together. And this was submitted, this won first place for the Federation of Canadian Artists and People Choice for the same exhibition. It also was sold. It recently won Splash. It was a finalist. It won finalist for Splash 27. So it will be printed again this in the Best of Watercolor this summer. And it was recently featured in Watercolor Artist Magazine, spring edition.
Wow.
Fabulous.
So, thank you. Yeah. So this is the first one, and this is what inspired my time last month, the Toronto Watercolor Society, for the demonstration.
We were so lucky to have that workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I did. I as many of the members that were with me at the demonstration, I wasn't able to finish the demonstration because I was way too ambitious to finish it. However, if you go to my YouTube, I do give you a commentary on how I finished that painting. It's about 40 minutes long, and if it's of any interest to you, you may be able to glean something of interest on there.
You you got pretty far. You did. I think everybody was happy.
I'm glad. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone out. T Chan asks, what brand of watercolor do I prefer? I honestly don't think it really matters what watercolor you use. I am learning that if you want a brand that is completely light fast, and say a lot of the Daniel Smith, they hold that as a very high value in their company. I would also I use a lot of Rockwell colors. I will say that if light fastness is important, just make sure you do your research on each of their pigments. They do use some plant-based pigments that are not super light fast, but the majority of the ones I use are barring Magic Wizard. If you're interested in what colors I use, you can go to their website, and since you're all from Canada, it should ship. There's 4 boxes of them. I've got one of like cooler primaries and warmer primaries. Oh, I'll stop sharing so you can see what I'm.
Is Rockwell Canadian?
It is Canadian, yeah.
And is it relatively new on the material scene? They've been around?
I think they've been around for more than a decade, but they probably they have a headquarters in Toronto actually, so or driving distance. So they should be. You can visit their HQ there. But I have 4 boxes. And these are the main colors that I use for skin tones. For skin tones, I typically which you will learn if you wanted to join me in my any of my teaching. I think the online workshop artist network is probably the easiest one, but I usually start off with a warm and cool. Warm and cool. So let me just try and bring that up for you for a link if you wanted to do that. So I depending on if it's a child or if it's an adult, I will use maybe a cooler blue or a warmer blue. But what I use for skin tones is very dependent more on what atmosphere, what's the dominant color that is going on in whatever I am painting. For example, if, as you know, if you want to paint a golf ball on a green lawn or, like a grass,
Green.
yes, yeah, on the green.
Green.
In order for that golf ball to look green, you're going to have to include green into the subject of the golf ball because the white golf ball is going to reflect the colors around it. So if I put a white ball in a red room, it's only in order for it to look white, I have to paint that red. So if I'm painting a face in a forest, it's going to reflect the greens in the forest. So if we're talking about what are my favorite colors of skin tone, it really depends on where I'm painting that skin. It's not a straight answer, but those are some important factors. But yeah, typically it will be, some kind of, I will mix a warm peachy tone, which is like a warm primary yellow with some kind of peach. I will have some kind of blue or cool in there. Sometimes it's a green. I will take the skin tone value as dark as it can go and its inherent value. And then if I need to make it go deeper, I might use like an amethyst, purple, and or like a burnt ochre to kind of deepen those values, just depending on where I go. But yeah, I talk a little bit more about skin tones in some of my lessons and how I
Your
apply that.
paintings are so colorful. Your portraits have so many colors in them. That's what makes them, well, your style. Makes them.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard for me to see. Yeah, hard for me to paint gray.
Yeah, so they're so colorful and they work. They work with
Thank
all
you.
those crazy colors.
Thank you. Yeah, it just goes to show it's really not about color, but it's all about value. Here's another example. Actually, from here, you're going to see a little bit about, let me just bring it down. This is so this is my first wash of this is a portrait of my husband. I live in Squamish and I never see the sun low. So when I was in Abbotsford and there were no mountains, I was able to get that low sun. I do like the story of light influencing my portraits. Light, as you know, is a very important part of the story of any of the paintings that we do. And so, there's this weird blue color coming up here and the blue, like I really push the tones, but you can see that it still reads pretty well as a face because the value design is hitting the right places. So that's how likeness is gone through. So I sometimes don't think about color too much or hue. In here, there's lots of like strange blues and coming in on my face there. I try to keep blues away from important parts. Like, I made this mistake before, by the way, this is why I know it, but like painting children with purple under their eyes always reads as bruising for the parents.
Oh,
so
that's not good.
Yeah, so there are certain tones I want to avoid in certain places, like the under eye, especially if it's for a child portrait. But if it's for me, I feel like I have so much more freedom when I'm painting my own portraits because I don't need to look pretty. It's okay if I look a little bit bruised. That's why I sometimes find it easier using myself as the subject matter because I'm not going to complain.
Well, your portraits of your husband reminded me of Van Gogh's portraits of himself.
Yeah.
Right. 100%.
Well, this has been absolutely wonderful. I've seen all kinds of hearts floating up the screen there, and there comes some more clapping and everything. Lorraine, it's just been such a joy. I've really enjoyed getting to know you and listening to you and watching you, and I'm going to follow you along now. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one. I think we've probably got another 50 people doing the same thing.
And
It's been
anybody who
just
missed it is going to be sorry. So we have a recording, right, Nancy? So other members can see it because they're going to hear about it.
yes. To get the recording, they need to send me an email until we change our system. And then I can send you a link. And it takes me a little while to get that done because I have to download it and then upload it to YouTube. And I am not a technological wizard, so it takes me a little bit. Takes some time. But yes, we will have it available.
Because people, when
Yeah.
they hear about this, they're going to be sorry they missed it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, they should come to our meetings.
that's right. Lorraine, I have a nosy, gossipy question,
Oh.
if it's okay.
Yeah.
Because you were so revealing about your journey. So when you work in the hotel and you had these insubordinates behind the scenes, whatever happened? Can you say?
Okay.
Let's hear
Yeah,
it.
so this is what happened. So you have to imagine I'm going from working in a ski town hotel to working in Vancouver's most prominent hotel. It's the only hotel with its own nightclub. It has a nightclub in the hotel.
Is
And
it a
in
Fairmont? Or you don't
no,
want to say?
this is the Paradox. This was the Trump
yeah,
Vancouver.
right.
It's now the Paradox. In the nightclub, it has the swimming pool, and the swimming pool has a floor that goes up and down. So it goes
Oh.
up to be a dance floor, and it goes down
Oh.
again to be a swimming pool. And so when I started working there, I'm just this like little mountain bumpkin, and I'm working with. We didn't have any. It was the middle of COVID. We had no money to start up anything, so we hired a bunch of interns. And some of these interns one of them was an intern, just finished his MBA or doing his MBA. He was like coming from the wealthiest Thai family, one of the wealthiest Thai families, and his girlfriend coming from one of the wealthiest families in Iran.
Oh.
Anyway, they were dating each other. Now, the first few months, I was just like, whatever, will work. And he was fine. He was great. He was super tech savvy. She was so green. She didn't even know how to put a spreadsheet together. Anyway, I thought we were only going to have 3 months of her. My boss wanted to keep her on. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll manage them and the girl that can't do anything. And because of the initial, like here, full disclosure, like the wealth difference was intimidating for me because you have this idea of she's coming in. I kid you not, she's wearing like $5,000-$10,000 outfits every day, like dripping with Dior and like so at the initial months I was like a little bit intimidated by that. As time went on, I think she had a narcissistic personality disorder. Anything I would try to direct her in, she would always, or if I gave her any kind of, that's not the best idea, trust my 15 years of hospitality experience, this will not go down well. She took it as a personal offense. Eventually, they were plotting against me. I brought it up to management. They thought it was an issue that I couldn't manage them. It went on for about 18 months, and they eventually got so comfortable being insubordinate to me that they started attacking other managers. And at that point, after about a year of managing them and her gaslighting me and making all these wild accusations, because I've never experienced gaslighting before, and I was really like stressed and sick from it, they eventually got found out for a form of embezzlement and wasting company time, and they were both fired. But it was an 18-month ordeal.
Oh my goodness.
You were well out of it, and we're glad that you're an artist.
That's a movie. That's a movie for you. I think I saw that on Netflix.
So I think we should bring this to a conclusion, and I should stop recording.
Okay. Well, I'm glad good wins out over evil.
Yeah. Jody, did you want to say anything else before we end the meeting?
Oh, we just appreciate your time and your sharing everything with us so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much thank you for your ears. I feel like I talked your ear off, but hopefully I was able to impart something.
It was fantastic.
Interesting. Every bit was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope we keep in touch, Lorraine.
Yes.
Absolutely. I put my Instagram on there. If you want my ebook, you can just, I think it was posted there as well. And yeah, if there's anything I can help you in your learning journey, don't feel free to reach out. Lots of fun opportunities along the way. And I try and give out as much free information as I can when I
You've
can.
I
been
don't feel
very
like we're paying you
generous.
enough money.
Yeah, you've been very generous. Thank
Yep.
you.
All right.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna just, on
Everyone.
behalf of everybody, thank you, and we're going to call it a day.
Yep. It was
Mhm.
fantastic.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Night.